Penny over here doesn't always like to come on command. And so in this video, we're going to go over how you can teach your dog to come using positive reinforcement. That's a good shake. Thank you. Okay, so a little bit of the science of the hand. The close my hand, the more closed it is, the less it's for the dog. You see she retracted. The more open it is, the more it's for the dog. That brought her over to me. Now also the distance, high up or down, also matters. I expect a dog to sit. Remember when you wouldn't even sit near me? Now look at you. So basically, if I want a dog to sit, I'll show you how I use a hand motion to put a dog into a sit. Sit. Now, for that, I think it's because the guardians have taught her to shake, and so she thinks that's something that's going to help, but I would recommend if your dog jumps up on you, you don't practice that for a while. So every time her paw comes up, just pull back. And eventually she realizes this action stops me from getting the affection of the treat. Okay, so when I call the dog, I'm going to hold my hand out sideways just so you can see it. I want a 45-degree bend at my elbow right there. Or that's 90, I guess, huh? Yes. I think I'm right. Yeah. Okay, 90. Okay, so I'm only doing it sideways just to show the camera, approximate to the camera. I want to hold it so that I'm pointing it directly towards the dog. So if the dog's on this side of me, I'm going to use this hand to call her. If she's over here, I'm going to use this hand to call her. I don't want to cross your body. It's a general rule for dogs. So I'm going to hold it like this. Now, because the closed or open matters to a dog, I'm going to hold my hand flat, just slightly cupped, and then to put the dog into a sit, I go over their head. As soon as they sit, I go to the treat, I say the word come, and I tickle them under their chin. We're not always going to give a treat, so if the dog is used to only getting a treat when we do this, after a while this becomes a hand signal, and it'll get the dog to come. Now also, well, it'll get the dog to sit, I should say. Now, if I want to get the dog to come and I say the word come, and she doesn't come, and I keep on saying it, the more I say it, the less she's gonna want to do it. Now, because she's heard the word come so many times, I'm recommending if you have a dog that stopped listening to a command word, it's faster often to come up with a completely new command word. In this one, I'm going to suggest we use here. You can change it to any word you want. Dogs have the only animal on the planet that can read a human facial expression. So come up with fun command words. You could say lay down. I say crash, and my dog flops down. People laugh and smile, and she feels so good about herself. And if we have kids in the house, it's just fun. So try to come up with some funny, creative command words, one-word commands. So we're going to say here right now, but I have one client that say attention, and whatever they want to say. So before I call the dog, I'm going to be holding my hand out towards the dog like this, ready. Then I call the dog looks at me, and I'm going like this, then I'm not ready for her. Now, if I call her and she looks at me, but is like, but I want a treat from Kate, because Kate's my favorite person, and I know she has more treats, and so she's sitting there in front of Kate. What Kate would do is she would cross her arms and look up to the side, and then whoever was calling her again, instead of saying the word here again, would make a kissing sound like, and then start lowering your hand. When she gets to where you want it, raise it over her head, come. Even though she's sitting, come is a more difficult challenge command word, so that's what we're going to reinforce. Now, if the dog won't come all the way, a lot of times, as soon as you raise your hand, that's usually where they're going to sit. So if she starts sitting far away as she's coming towards you, start pulling your arm back, and when she gets to a position you want, they go like this, come. Now, when we do this, we're going to demonstrate this here in a second. I'm going to step out, and we're going to have Mom and the kids are going to demonstrate this. Yes, I know. Mom is going to be in charge, and she's going to say who is going to call the dog next. Come over here. I appreciate the kiss, but I have a date later tonight. There we go. So Mom is going to get a point. So only one person calls the dog at a time. When Mom points at whoever that person is, they're going to hold their hand out towards the dog. We're going to say here one time. Now she doesn't recognize what here means yet. So then what we're going to do is use a kissing sound like, can you do that? Perfect. And so that'll get the dog to look at you. As soon as the dog looks at you, you want to start lowering your hand and go all the way to the floor if you have to. The lower you go, the more accessible the treat is for the dog. When it comes to you, raise it over its head in an arc to put it into a sit, then give it the treat and say sit. After a while, the dog will come and start sitting on its own. You don't have to raise it. You only raise your hand over their head to put them into a sit. But if they don't listen to you, we're going to make a kissing sound and ask them to come. Now, right now when we're doing this, we're going to be in a triangle. You want to have at least 3 people when you're doing it. You want to be about 7 or 10 feet apart, which is what they're going to be. Eventually, once the dog starts coming consistently, then you're going to start increasing the distance in the triangle, so the dog has to go in the next room beyond line of sight. And eventually up to the next floor and places like that. So I'm going to step out of the shot and I'll kind of direct, and the cameraman's going to continue to film. And I'm going to have you sit on the chair. There we go. And we're going to see if Joe can pause the game for a second. And we'll be done with this in a second, Joe, I promise. All right, so Mom's going to say whoever's calling first. So Joe, hold your hand out towards the dog with one treat in it and say her name and H-E-A-R, or H-E-R-E, if I can spell.
Penny, here.
All right, now make a kiss. Now, Kate, what are we going to do? There we go. So raise it up over her head and give it to her right now and say, come, or here.
Here.
All right, let's have Mom do it next.
Penny, here.
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 All right, who's up next, Mom? Now, if she comes to somebody like that and we didn't call her, then we would alternate and go to someone else. And you're doing perfect, exactly what you should do, except for look up to the side. And then you're going to call her.
Penny, here. Here.
Perfect.
Penny, here.
Now, when Mom called, Mom wasn't
Here.
ready. That's okay, but we want the dog initially to be like, she's got something for me. All right, you ready? Hold your hand out.
Here.
Say your name first.
Penny, here.
And then cross your arms. And there you go. Raise it up. Give it to her. Come. Say come.
Come.
Always try to say come.
Penny, here. Here.
She's a smart one.
Penny, here.
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 That was awesome. So when we saw this last one, Mom didn't have to raise her hand over the dog's head. It just automatically sat down, which is what we're going to get to. And that's why I spend so much time on manding, about petting with a purpose and passive train, all these things, making the dog sit. Dogs don't generalize well. Sit. So they have to do things in a lot of different locations. Now, don't just do it in this room. When you're doing this, you want to do it in different rooms throughout your house. The method that I do is I do it in a room, and then I gradually start, yeah, please. And I gradually make the triangle or whatever bigger and bigger until I can get the dog to come anywhere in the house at all. And the first time I call. Next step, it would be go outside and practice in the backyard. When we practice in the backyard, there's a lot of distractions. So we would shrink the triangle or whatever the shape is, at least 3 people, down so we're about 10 or 11 feet apart and practice that. When she starts coming right away, then we gradually take steps back until we're on the fence line on opposite sides of the yard, and she comes every time. This is just helping her, because now if somebody's calling, whoever's petting her, like right there, should stop petting. Otherwise, we're kind of creating a conflict for her, and that she's going to have conflict resolution issues of who do I listen to, who's petting me now or who's about to pet me. And so we've got to help each other out and recognize that'll be hard, but that would be something with the M&Ms is, oh, did you stop petting?
Stop.
That's worth 2 M&Ms, and you can vary it up. Okay, so this is, Penny is loving it. This is how you can teach your dog to come.